Tonight on NAIT NewsWatch.
Apprentices in Alberta can look forward to more job opportunities in the near future.
That businesses and companies are giving apprentices a fair opportunity to get work in the field.
Memorial marches for missing and murdered Indigenous women take place across the country.
We are gathered here together to remember and honor today. This march is an opportunity for us to come together and grieve the Indigenous women.
And the city announces major changes to the transit fare system.
Makes travel across the Edmonton metropolitan region easier for customers since one payment method could be used on all participating transit systems.
NewsWatch starts now.
Good evening. New opportunities are opening up for apprentices in Alberta, which is good news for many students here at NAIT.
This week, the government of Alberta announced a new policy that requires contractors working on government projects to hire more apprentices. Our Nikita Ganovichev joins us live from the South Lobby with more on that story.
The announcement for the policy was made right here at NAIT, and it says that starting this month, contractors who take on bid on government projects will have to hire apprentices to work on those projects.
Today's announcement will help apprentices and workers like myself.
NAIT student Colette Dufour joined officials on stage this week as the government announced the new policy giving apprentices more work opportunities. The second-year carpentry student is excited about what it means for her future.
It will guarantee education alongside of our job site work experience, which is really important.
We're using government projects to train apprentices, and that's the first time that Alberta has done that, and we think that it's important for government to support the apprentices.
The new policy means that contractors awarded a government project worth more than $15 million must hire apprentices. Projects that take more than 2 years to complete must also hire apprentices, and subcontracts worth $500,000 or more will need to hire at least one apprentice. It's a move welcomed by NAIT instructors who recognize that the majority of an apprentice's training comes on the job.
To get these guys working is a good thing for the students.
Carpentry instructor Paul Bettio believes this policy will create a more well-educated workforce.
It's a good thing for our apprentices, it's a good thing for our province, and it's also a good thing for potential clients out there to have trained individuals on their job sites. So.
The government will be visiting these work sites to make sure that there's the right amount of apprentices for each project.
Nikita, are all trades a part of this new policy?
So there are 11 construction-based trades that are part of this policy, including electricians, plumbers, and iron workers. And these 11 trades were chosen because they have the highest amount of apprentices in their industry.
Nikita, what kind of projects will the apprentices be working on?
The projects will be infrastructure and transportation based, so that would be road construction, bridge construction, and public buildings.
Thanks, Nikita. That's Nikita Ganovichev reporting live from the South Lobby. This week, some students at NAIT experienced what it's like to be verbally harassed.
It was part of an interactive art exhibit raising awareness on street harassment. Our Mackenzie Gates checked it out. Mackenzie.
I'm here at NAIT with a very special art exhibit. This is what it feels like, shows people what it feels like to be harassed verbally while walking down the street. This exhibit was put in partnerships with a couple organizations, including an artist from San Diego. Using headphones, participants enter a small box and listen to pre-recorded audio from accounts from women in Edmonton.
Looking good. Get in the car. Hey, beautiful. Unzip that jacket. You look a little hot in those.
When you first enter the exhibit, all you see is darkness, and what you hear is catcalling, verbal harassment, and objectifying comments. While this is just an auditory exhibit, experts say it's a reality for a lot of women in Edmonton, including NAIT student Tessa Schneider, who says she's experienced verbal harassment at work and even just walking down the street, and believes exhibits like this are important.
Sad that it has to happen, but I think it's good that it does happen because I think it helps educate people on the issues that a lot of women deal with on the daily.
Education is the purpose of the exhibit set up at NAIT, and the goal is to show the attitudes and beliefs surrounding the issue. Michael Hoyt, a social worker with the City of Edmonton, helped bring the exhibit to NAIT. He believes it's important people understand that this kind of behavior is not acceptable.
For those that might be saying things on the street or having been an instigator, just help them to raise their awareness.
It seems many students at NAIT heard the message by writing their thoughts about the experience on a whiteboard. For Tessa, she believes this is the start of an important ongoing conversation everyone needs to get involved in.
Don't just watch. Do something about it. You can say something back.
The exhibit has also visited MacEwan University, and organizers hope to get to other post-secondary schools throughout the year. Mackenzie Gates, NAIT NewsWatch.
An emotional march this week to remember murdered and missing Indigenous women. The march took place Wednesday, starting at MacEwan University and ending at the University of Alberta. According to the National Inquiry into Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women, Aboriginal women are 12 times more likely to be missing or murdered compared to non-Indigenous women in Canada.
These are women who might have been our students, and these are women who were denied their future. There is so much work to be done still to raise awareness, to bring healing to families who have lost a loved one, and to bring this national crisis to an end.
Walks like this one in Edmonton were held across the country on Wednesday.
You're watching NAIT NewsWatch, the next generation of news.
Many gathered at the Winspear Centre this week to commemorate a Canadian icon. The memorial was held in memory of Tommy Banks, a famous Albertan musician, television personality, and politician. The night was filled with musical tributes as well as speeches from many friends and family members remembering the legendary musician.
You could have known Tommy for only 5 minutes, and it would have almost the same effect, because Tommy Banks was magic.
Tommy Banks passed away of cancer on January 25th.
SmartFare will be the new way for ETS riders to pay for a transit service in the near future. The city announced it will be implementing a card system that will function as pay-as-you-go setup. It will also allow riders to use smartphones with Apple Pay or Android Pay, as well as debit or credit cards to pay for fares.
Well, from a student perspective, we're hoping that with the fare program applications that are part of the SmartFare system, that we can actually streamline the registration of the program. There will no longer be stickers necessarily required.
SmartFare is expected to be fully up and running in 2020.
Columbia Avenue, better known as 105th Avenue, is getting an update. Feedback took place on Tuesday night. In 2006, a design study was completed on the avenue, and the project is just now being revisited. The city intends to make it more accessible to a variety of transportation types.
It's seen as sort of the next area in the city that, after downtown, that's ripe for redevelopment. Right? You have the quarters, you have Columbia Avenue, where you do have a fair number of vacant lots, and there is a lot of development that's interested in going in. And so the Columbia Avenue Streetscape is seen as potentially a catalyst to help spur some of that redevelopment of the area.
Another public meeting will take place in the spring.
An Edmonton shop is in need of your furniture donations. Find is a second-hand store that aims to provide low-cost furniture to the public while also supplying furniture to clients looking to get off the streets. Right now, the social enterprise is asking the public to consider donating items to the store.
Right now, we are low on donations. It can also end up meaning longer wait times for people to be able to get their furniture, and we want to make sure that we remove as many obstacles as we can to getting people into their home and being able to have it fully furnished.
If you have something to donate, Find offers free pickup. For details, go online.
Chinese culture is celebrating the Year of the Dog this year, and this week residents of the Chinese Seniors Lodge were paid a special visit to help bring in the new year. The Minister of Seniors and Housing, Lori Sigurdsson, and members of Dogs with Wings were there to explain the services and benefits a service animal can provide.
Different Albertans have challenges, and I spoke about the social isolation that seniors sometimes experience. So Dogs with Wings support that. We know that kids with autism also benefit greatly when they have that kind of canine companion.
It costs around $40,000 to train a service dog, but they're available to those in need for only $1. The rest of that money needs to be fundraised.
Edmonton Police braved this week's terrible wind to take part in an initiative to spread distracted driving awareness. The initiative is called EPS Cupids. Several officers braved the cold on both White Ave and Stony Plain Road, going car to car to hand out cookies and to remind them to keep their eyes on the road.
Today, you're going to get a cookie, something very sweet, as opposed to a $287 fine, which would be pretty sour, and a chunk of change out of your wallet.
This is the first year the EPS Cupids initiative has been put into practice. On site, the officers hope it will be successful enough to run again next year. Coming up after the break, NAIT emphasizes the importance of good relationships by hosting several events around the campus.
Healthy Relationship Week focuses on how abusive relationships can affect students.
It's pretty common that people have difficulties in relationships.
This week in sports, the NAIT women's basketball team takes on the King's University Eagles. The badminton team gets ready for nationals, and I find out what it takes to become a real-life wrestler. All that and more in a few minutes.
If you're wanting to make plans for the upcoming long weekend, you might not want to forget your winter jacket. I've got your weekend weather forecast coming up after the break.
NR92 is so on fleek. Don't miss out on
Pancakes!
concerts.
Contests!
Follow NR92 online so you can stay woke, fam.
Brenden, what are your plans for the long weekend?
Well, I have some, but they're weather dependent. Melissa, can you tell us what we're in for this weekend?
Well, guys, as post-secondary students head into reading week, we don't have the warmest temperatures out, but let's start looking at Calgary first. So in Calgary, we have a high of -8, a low of -15. There's a pretty high chance it's going to snow, so make sure you're prepared for that. Moving on to Jasper, we have a high of -10, low of -15. Also going to snow there, but not bad weather to hit the slopes. Over to Fort McMurray, it's going to be fairly cold out. We have a high of -17, a low of -22. And while it's not the warmest day ever, it's going to be pretty sunny, so I think that makes up for it. Moving to our hometown, Edmonton, we have a high of -12, a low of -15. It's going to be partly cloudy, and that's actually pretty average for this time of year. On average, we have a high of -3, a low of -13, and our records for this time of year is a high of +11, in 1888, and a low of -47 in 1884. That's been your look at weather. Back to you guys.
NewsWatch Weather is brought to you by NR92, the station for the students.
In the spirit of Valentine's Day, NAIT celebrated Healthy Relationship Week. There was a variety of activities from Monday to Thursday.
The activities were designed to put an emphasis on the importance of maintaining healthy relationships for students. Our Evan Hugowanik has more.
According to Statistics Canada, dating violence is the highest among the 15 to 24 age group. This makes up 43% of all incidents of dating violence. NAIT counselor Karen Anderson explains that this issue is real and still ongoing with students.
It's pretty common that people have difficulties in relationships, and there are areas of conflict. But when it starts to become about power and control and abuse, that can create more stress for the students.
Canadian Centre for Justice Statistics shows that the most reported type of violence is being physically assaulted, such as being grabbed or hit with something. Then at 25% is being sexually assaulted. The main goal for these events on campus this week are to make sure students are aware of what an abusive relationship looks like and knows where to go if they are in one. Each event, students were able to gather information on healthy relationships, such as Consent Tea Day.
And there's been a number of these going on campus, and it just highlights the importance of asking consent before engaging in any kind of behind closed doors type of relationship activities.
Domestic violence can happen to anyone, whether you're a student,
teacher, or even a child. Here at NAIT, there are counseling services to help you if you are in an unhealthy relationship. For NAIT NewsWatch, I'm Evan Hugowanek.
The Eskimos had a visitor this week.
And the Ukes badminton team is getting ready for a big weekend as well.
A busy week in sports, but we're going to start with some Ukes basketball action. The Ukes women's basketball team are looking to snap a 2-game losing skid heading into their battle with their crosstown rivals, the King's University Eagles. Starting in the third quarter, the Ukes already drumming the Eagles when Sydney Hurlburt receives the gorgeous pass from Katie Waring, and she lays it in to make it a 24-point game. Then Melisha Pedersen forces a contact from the Kings defender and still gets the rock to drop to make it 50-26. In the fourth, once again, Waring finds Carly McHarg for the lay-in, and that would pretty much do it, as the Ukes snap the losing skid at 2, 80-66. CFL Commissioner Randy Ambrosie is in town this week as a part of his cross-Canada tour to propose to fans some possible rule changes and to hear some feedback as well.
Well, some smart aleck suggested that the best way to settle this was for me to wrestle Vince McMahon.
Some of the commissioner's top priorities have included how the CFL will compete with the XFL's return, a schedule change, and even some travel packages for fans. Ambrosie said that with the schedule change, it would force the Grey Cup to October. However, Eskimos quarterback Mike Riley says that playing in the cold is one of his favorite parts of the CFL.
For me as a player, it's kind of appealing to me to play in the cold. Here in Edmonton, we deal with the cold all the time. So, I think that's part of what's great about playoff football and Grey Cup football.
Ambrosie's final tour date is in Halifax on February 23rd. The CCAA Badminton Nationals are this weekend at Concordia University, and after finishing first in the ACAC, the Ukes are looking for an impressive outing at the tournament. The Ukes finished the season with 498 points, 65 points above the second-place Concordia Thunder. The Ukes are ranked second in the nation heading into the championships, and that is thanks to the ACAC Coach of the Year, Sinead Chia.
Definitely our team is a strong competitor, as NAIT is always a strong competitor. So we've put in our best lineup that we possibly could, and hopefully we'll get medaling results, if not gold results.
The championship begins this weekend at the Ralph King Athletic Center. The 1984-1985 Edmonton Oilers not only went undefeated in their first 15 games, broke 7 NHL records, and won the Stanley Cup, but they have now been named the greatest team in the NHL history.
Your 1984-1985 Edmonton Oilers!
Every player from that team was in attendance except for Charlie Huddy and Dave Semenko, who lost his battle with cancer in June of 2017. The event saw all the Oilers chat about the year and even some of the Oilers' rivals, including New York Islanders captain Dennis Savard and even Flames captain Lanny McDonald. The team was voted the best team of all time by the fans over the course of the NHL's 100th season. Alberta has been home of some of the WWE's best wrestlers of all time, including Chris Benoit, Bret the Hitman Hart, and even Roman Reigns called Edmonton home while he played for the Eskimos. In this week's End Zone Challenge, I took my shot at being the next one. Nice. The first thing I had to learn was how to take a bump or fall.
So we start off low like this, you can kind of go from here, and then, okay. So low, yep. That's it.
I have to admit, the first 2 bumps did not feel very good, but I started to get the hang of it. I did about 8 in a row when I was really starting to feel it. But as I was starting to get it, I thought that nothing could stop me. I was oh so very wrong. That was just the beginning. We decided that we were going to start with some shoulder tackles. Making sure that we were square to each other was a major key. At this point, I thought I was the man, but that quickly changed. After taking a few more bumps, we decided to call it quits, and I thought I had gained Andy Anderson's trust.
All right, we're good, we're done?
Yeah, thank you so much. This was an awesome experience.
Yeah, you enjoyed it?
Oh, so much.
Good, nice and easy, hey?
Oh,
good.
It's much more than I thought, though.
Fair enough. Did you want to do one more? One last one?
Sure, let's do it.
All right, one more tackle. 1, 2, 3, go. Yeah, that's nice and easy?
No.
Go back to film school.
Wow, you really took a beating there. I'll have to admit that was pretty fun to watch.
There was a couple of big dudes colliding in the ring.
Yeah, I'm still a little bit sore. My neck feels a little cracked.
Coming up after the break, Brenden and I learned how much just one simple act of kindness can change someone's day.
We spent some time this week showing a little extra love to people around campus. This week is Random Acts of Kindness Week. So what we'd like to do is give you a note on behalf of NAIT NewsWatch.
This week in entertainment, we take a look at the various artistry that is a part of the Chinook series, and we also get a little sentimental at the Woodrock Cafe. All that and more coming up next.
Students, NR92's Facebook page has got you covered.
NR92's Facebook page keeps you up to date with events going on around campus. Check out NR92's Facebook page to stay informed.
NewsWatch clothing provided by Action Air Mold and Asbestos.
NewsWatch music provided by Martin Mayer Productions.
This week is Random Acts of Kindness Week across North America.
To do our part, Amber and I headed out around the NAIT campus to spread some words of encouragement.
We're from NAIT NewsWatch, and it's Random Acts of Kindness Week, so we'd like to give you a little something and hope you pay it forward. Have a nice day, guys.
We wrote out notes with positive messages on them and then handed them out to NAIT students. Then we headed down to NAITSA to donate to the food bank. Random acts of kindness can be anything from holding a door open to buying a coffee for someone, according to the foundation's vice president, Brooke Jones.
This is Brenden.
What do you have that you can offer right now where you are, right? It may not be money. It may be that you're succeeding in a specific class and you could offer somebody help in terms of tutoring. What do you have? Everybody's got something to offer. So right now in this place in your life, what do you have to offer to those who might need it?
We were even fortunate enough to receive some instant gratification from one student. Random Acts of Kindness Week concludes on Sunday.
There have been so many festivals and plays going on recently. The art scene in Edmonton is really expanding.
Absolutely. The creativity in our city is unbelievable. Rejoice, what can you tell us about what's been going on?
With so many outdoor events in arguably Canada's greatest festival city, one festival continues to separate itself from the pack. The Silver Skate Festival has returned to Edmonton's Hawrelak Park once again. Our David Pater has more on that story.
For Flynn Holland and his mother, the Silver Skate Festival isn't just any ordinary festival. They come from London every year to get skating lessons. Flynn has no hesitations about his favourite part of the festival.
It's a bit because you got skating, which you don't really get in England. Outside, where you can use your sticks and parks and shooting and everything there.
Winter sports aren't the only attraction at the festival, though, as there are several other exhibits and activities to partake in. Inspired by tradition and a love of the outdoors, the festival has exploded into an extravaganza of art, culture, recreation, and winter sports, all of which are very family-oriented. A few of the events are new to Silver Skate this year.
Marianne Sikovitz has brought a new roving program called the Leaving Tree, and we've got some great live new acts performing in the tent as well over the weekend.
While the park is quieter today, organizers are optimistic that the turnout will be better over the weekend.
I don't know. If the sun is shining, I expect to see lots of people in Hawrelak Park. Edmontonians are learning how to dress for success and embrace winter.
Silver Skate Festival will actually be home to a fire-burning art festival with artists partaking from around the world. On top of that, the main event will be actually live music on both Saturday night and Sunday night. For NAIT NewsWatch, I'm Dave Pater.
The Chinook Series Performance Festival took over the Edmonton art scene. The Cold Hearts managed to put on a cutting-edge performance with the rock opera Unrepentant Necrophile.
Bless your body so divine.
This play, which is based on a true story, is about a mortician, Karen Greenlee, who wanders off to the woods for a camping weekend with the corpse and ends up doing some questionable things. Main actress Katie Hartman of the Cold Hearts portrays the role perfectly with her vocals, humor, and her creativity. After being electrocuted, Katie's corpse joins her as he plays the drums to her music. She truly turns the eerie subject matter into an unapologetic piece of entertaining art.
The inspiration for it was we make horror theater, we make minimalist musicals, and this is our first time going electric. Our 2 previous shows were acoustic, and both of those were set in the mid-19th century, and this was our first foray into the 20th century, and so we wanted to go electric.
The Unrepentant Necrophile is playing at the Backstage Theater until February 18th. Switching gears to a different form of art, open mic night at the Nook Cafe was a stage to the underground talents of the Edmonton poetry scene.
And presence is all what performing is about. Being present here in this moment, in this room with you, here, now, and forever.
It was a full house at the Nook Cafe as performers of all ages and backgrounds took the stage. Dozens of individuals braved the stage to tell their stories and express their truths in front of complete strangers.
Yeah, we have a night every Tuesday. Usually we have open mics, but we also have slams where there's competition on the line, as well as opportunities to be performing and representing Edmonton on the national stage at festivals like the Canadian Festival of Spoken Word, as well as Versus Festival of Words.
If you're feeling up to the challenge, the Nook Cafe hosts open mic night every Tuesday from 7 to 9 p.m. Some women battling cancer were served up a special afternoon of music and support. On Valentine's Day, the lovely ladies staying at the Compassion House during their treatment visited Woodrat Cafe for the Compassion House Day of Love. The day was a celebration of life. Activities that ran throughout the event were magic tricks by Byron Martin and music by Piper Rempel.
At the Compassion House, they get kind of that home away from home, and that's what we try to do here at the cafe. So today we have entertainers, we have a magician here today, and we also have a caricaturist, Simon Glassman, come in this afternoon, and then tonight we have a woman named Piper who's going to sing some ukulele love songs, and it's all in return for donation.
Even though the Compassion House Day of Love is over, you can still help out the Compassion House with donation items such as toilet paper, dishwasher tabs, gift cards, or cash donations. Now, with the art scene in Edmonton being so large, one particular aspect that needs building is the familiarity of the artists. So as a part of the Chinook series, Taylor Chadwick held a live podcast at the ATB Financial Arts Theatre to connect with local artists.
Nasra, Hunter Cardinal, and Christy Hansen. I'm Taylor Chadwick, your host.
Taylor Chadwick hosted the podcast What It Is, brought together 3 key emerging artists and creators to get to know them personally. The people on the panel were Nazra Adam, who is a choreographer and the founder of Sister to Sister, a monthly showcase that is dedicated to uplifting women of color. Hunter Cardinal, an actor and artistic director at Rapid Fire Theatre, and last but not least, Christy Hansen, who is a co-artistic director for the Azimuth Theatre.
A lot of times the media will focus on the work. So what is the play about? Why should people see it? Artists don't like really answering those questions, especially the one like, why should people see your show? They're like, I don't know, like I worked really hard. Our show kind of does away with those types of questions and gets more into like who someone is, you know? What inspires you? What keeps you going? What are you angry about? What are you happy about? Those are the things and those are the types of questions that we ask on our show, and those are the types of things that we think are interesting.
To listen to more conversations like this, you can catch the What It Is podcast on iTunes. And that is all I have for entertainment today, guys. Have a fantastic weekend and happy Family Day.
Hey, is the world's longest hockey game still going on?
It is, and actually, Amber, the last time I checked, the score was 1,057 for Team White to 1,039 for Team Red.
That's crazy. Well, that's been your look at entertainment and news this week.
Thanks for joining us.